All right, we welcome in everybody out there watching, paying attention to what we do here on the JAKIB Media YouTube page, The Middle. Now, Barrett Brooks is still out today.
Yes.
He will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he's coming back from Atlanta sometime today, and he'll join us tomorrow, just in time for game time, Eytan. You see how that works out for Barrett?
Typical veteran move.
Yep, absolutely.
Practice all day.
Yep.
All week.
But he's still going to suit up for the game. Yeah.
And take away valuable playing time from us, who got bumped up to the ones all week. And then they're sitting around like, hey, what happened here? This guy wasn't around at all.
Right. Yesterday was like meetings for us, so we weren't on the radio. But, yeah, the Monday we had a full practice with the Patriots. Today we got a little walkthrough action. And then tomorrow Barrett shows up and plays in the game, and we go back to the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way it is.
Unbelievable, man. But
we had a great day
living
yesterday, and we'll detail that for everybody because that was phenomenal. I'm just so glad the weather held up for us.
Oh my goodness. Well, didn't one of our own win Best Dressed?
Yes. Kevin Bloomfield on the stream.
Yes.
Showed up. He was one of the first people there that morning because I had to go in there early. And I see him sitting around in this unbelievable outfit, bedecked with shamrocks, green and white from head to toe. And I'm like, man, he really put a lot of thought into this. And, he's obviously trying to win Best Dressed, and he won it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's something where you come into, like, you could come into a golf outing saying, I want to win this thing.
Right.
That's pretty difficult to do. But you have a lot more control over winning something like Best Dressed than you do your putting.
Absolutely. Yes.
And Bloomfield went out, and he set out to win Best Dressed, and damn it, he won it.
He did. That was commitment. I wonder how long he had that outfit in the works for.
Well, here's the thing,
yesterday.
though, Harry. You mentioned like building up to it, right? In the works. How long was this thing planned? And I don't know if maybe Kevin thought the humidity wouldn't be as bad or the rain would kind of cool stuff off. But I was in a golf shirt and shorts, and I felt like I just got out of a bath like every 5 minutes. Kevin's outfit was, correct me if I'm wrong here, at least long pants.
Oh, he had the slacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't he have long sleeves as well?
I think he did. And, and he had the white shoes. I mean, from the hat to head to toe, he was in uniform.
I was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, do we know how Kevin shot yesterday?
I do not. I mean, does it really matter?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. I'll tell you, it's probably definitely better than me. So I'm not going to say anything. And he looked better than me too.
Well, it was phenomenal. And, we showed up, though. I mean, we represented well.
You and I, yes.
Yeah, I mean, our group.
Well, we finished 6 under as a group, correct?
Right.
It was about where do you think in the meat of the outing?
We were probably right kind of in the middle of the pack.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we'd be up in the top part, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, I don't even remember exactly what won it. It was the guys from X Golf, that group that was ahead of us, one hole ahead of us. They ended up taking the prize.
I think it was like 13, 14 under, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can find that out.
Now, look, we did beat the president.
Yes, we did.
Of iHeartRadio and Jeff Moore.
We beat that group like a drum, let's be honest.
So that was nice. Did we beat our program director and Sean Brace's group? I imagine we did.
I believe so.
Yeah, because they were about 1 under when we were consistent. Now, we had a guy. It was you, myself, my brother-in-law, Chris, and we had a guy in Ryan.
Ryan Worthy is his name.
Works with the Philadelphia Union.
Yes.
And Mike, I got to reach out to Chris Albright and tell him to give this guy a raise.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you're not kidding.
He carried us on a couple of them. Like the difference between, and look, you had an amazing day. I think Chris helped out a lot. We were able to use a couple of my shots, but the difference I think between the three of us and Ryan was that we could get out of a bad situation so easy with him, as opposed to having to rely on one of us hitting a 3-iron from 220 out in the thick of it.
Right.
Like the thick shit.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up firing one in there close to where we made eagle on a par 5. You sunk a birdie putt. You sunk a big par putt for us. But this guy was unbelievable. I mean, he played college golf at Penn State. He's 6'5".
It's really fun to watch.
I mean,
right?
it really was an unbelievable. I mean, he would hit 5 irons and stuff, just like meteors up so high. I mean, when you got a guy that can do that, that's special. So,
and look, every now and again,
job.
my brother-in-law hits one, 290. It just goes straight like that. He can
when he wasn't on a conference call. I mean, the guy we think we went 8 straight holes. Where he's on a conference call with earbuds in his, and he was walking like you were driving him in the cart, and he was like, "No, I can't do this. I got to walk because he's got to be on the phone."
Because he was outed as playing golf instead of being on the call.
Right. He's like that guy in that commercial on Golf Channel all the time. Gets out of the car on a call with his earbuds in, but he's really playing golf.
Exactly right. I think he was on a call, like handling a call. And
I hope he sold something.
I think so. Medical stuff. So you only need one a year.
Right.
It's like hitting a DFS tournament.
Right.
Here's Eytan, Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, we are live now, joined by SportsMap Radio, and just talking a little bit about this fantastic golf outing from iHeartRadio to 1912, where Harry is a member. And
Swing It and Ding It.
Swing It and Ding It was I guess, the main vehicle behind it, right?
Correct.
We did see all the other stations there. DAS was there, and it was amazing to see. This was one of the coolest outings that I've seen, that I've been a part of, and we were hanging out the first couple of minutes reflecting on that as really one of our own in Kevin Bloomfield, who has been a part of what you and I have been doing even before the middle.
Oh yeah, he used to come out and see us at parks all the time.
And we just wanted to give him a shout because he won best dressed.
Correct.
And we got to send a pic of him to Ron Culver, because Culver wouldn't even believe us.
No, I know.
We described the Shamrock outing, and
I think he's available, Kevin Bloomfield, in that outfit for parties on around St. Patrick's Day.
Hey, if I'm him, maybe you do that. Maybe it's like, instead of wedding crashers, it's like outing crashers, where you hire that guy to show up, and then Kevin comes in with the full Shamrock stuff, and it just adds a little bit of.
He's like an Irish mascot.
Yes, that works too. That definitely works too.
But a lot going on in sports, though. This, obviously we weren't on yesterday, but there's a lot of headlines that we can cover here. We got a couple of good guests coming on today.
Yes, we do. Now, what headlines did we miss yesterday? Because I didn't pay attention. I didn't have to work yesterday.
Right.
So I didn't pay attention to anything.
Well, Joel Embiid got super maxed.
Oh.
So if anybody needs a loan, just go up to Joel Embiid, because he is absolutely filthy rich. Tim Tebow got cut yesterday in Jacksonville.
Yes, he did.
I'm not sure if that's a bigger story than the Kerryon Johnson era with the Philadelphia Eagles has come to an abrupt end, as he's been released as well. The running back that they got, I think he was with Detroit last year, and he came from Auburn, had some injury issues, and he was injured for the Birds, and he's now been released. Jalen Hurts, apparently, and Jalen Reagor lit it up yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
In the joint practices. The wide receiver group showed up for the Eagles, apparently.
Well, I saw, this is, I'll tell you in a second here. We'll be back in 3 on SportsMap Radio. Okay. So I saw on the news, came home last night, and my wife is there doing stuff with the baby, and the news, NBC, is on in the background. And lo and behold, who do I see live down outside training camp?
Johnny Clark.
Yeah, who was at the outing.
The outing yesterday. Yeah.
So he must have got to his destination better than the long driver trying to get to the airport, right?
Well, the long driver, Wes Patterson, who was great yesterday, he was a big hit with everybody, gave John Clark a tip on the driving range that apparently really worked for Johnny throughout the outing. He was hitting the ball a lot better, according to what he told me, and it was due to Wes Patterson's tip. But Wes was trying to get to the airport, but he ended up changing his flight.
Okay.
Because he ended up, I think, meeting someone at the outing. Wink, wink.
Is that right?
Yes.
Do we know who?
Well, I can describe her, but I don't know her name.
Do you know what she does? Is she with anybody?
Well, she was one of the entourage that was on one of the the Holes. She was brought there, you know, as a
like
PR firm. She's with like a PR firm.
Oh, okay. So one of the nice-looking young women in like the short shorts.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
So good job out of Wes.
Yeah. Well, how old is Wes? Because they look like they were like 20.
Wes is probably, you know, late 20s, maybe early 30s max, right?
Well, what was the tip that he gave? That's what I'm really curious about.
I don't know. We'll have to talk to John Clark about that at some point here soon. We'll have to get him on to talk a little Eagles and stuff, but then we can ask him. But I don't know. He just said he gave him a tip and it worked.
I mean, geez.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't get any tips.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he get a tip? Where's Wes? Wes isn't from here. It's not like
he lives in Florida.
Yeah, he couldn't pull John Clark out of a lineup.
He just flies in for games.
Seriously. So what the hell? I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could overstep your bounds by asking the guy for a tip. I thought you just say, all right, you know, you hit the ball. We'll see if we can play his ball or not.
Well, I think he was doing like a clinic on the range, and I guess he must have noticed a hitch in Johnny's move and, you know, adjusted it, and it worked.
Yeah. Okay. Now I gotta
go. You didn't show him your move.
I don't have a move. I have a step to the left. That's about it, you know. Jeez, I'm just disappointed I didn't get a tip. I'll take a tip from you. You had your putting game going.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take a tip from anybody at this point. It's just like parenting advice. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So just try.
You're learning day by day.
Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. But I see Kevon Wallace for the Eagles, one of the defensive backs, apparently was taunting Cam Newton during some of the workouts. How about that?
Cam goes from some kid in the crowd to now football players, his own peers.
Yeah.
Ripping him.
And this guy isn't even a star. Like, this is the former MVP quarterback.
Right.
You know?
This is what, a second or third now year safety, right?
Here's Eytan, Shander.
Yeah. It's calling him the check down king.
All right. Now, let's, where do you see this story here about Cam Newton getting harassed at Eagles practice? It's not even an Eagles fan who's doing it.
I saw it somewhere on Twitter, and I'll find it. I wrote it down. It was apparently calling him check down king during, some of the workouts.
Not check down Charlie.
No, referring to him as a running back. I mean, he was woofing on him, apparently.
Wow. Was this like yelling at him, or was this in some press conference after the fact?
No, I think it was during on the field.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, Cam just getting harassed out there, man. I mean, if that might be time. He's not Carmelo Anthony commands more respect.
Here it is.
Newton.
Eagles Nation on Twitter, at PHL Eagles Nation. This was 20 hours ago. Kevon Wallace spent today heckling Cam Newton. Wallace was relentless, saying, quote, "Not only are you only throwing checkdowns, that's all you ever do, over and over. You're the king of it," end quote.
Ooh, just now, did Wallace have any play? Is there anything associated with what Wallace might have done out there on the field?
Mike Kay tweeted about it too, who covers the Eagles. Check down king. After he dumped one off to a running back on a 7-on-7. The next play, Wallace yells, "running back," on cue. Newton threw it to White in the flat.
Well, he's calling out the play. He's not calling Cam a running back.
No, but he called him check down king.
Yeah, the check.
That's all you ever do.
That's the assault of it right there, is the check down king element. Yes, right. I can see that point. Right. But I thought like maybe he was calling him a running back. Like, man, you're just a run. Like people called Lamar Jackson.
Right.
A running back. Lamar's a running back. Although Cam really is their best goal line option anyway with the ball. So
they got good running backs in New England.
They just have a lot of running backs.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going to have to cut two legit guys, you know?
Not too legit to quit.
No, not too. Although, speaking of something similar to that, apparently Tag Team was performing at the White Sox game yesterday.
Is that right?
Yes, I saw it. Yes.
Of the great Geico commercial.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So they've had a renaissance, I guess, as a result of that commercial being a huge success.
That's right. Look, the Patriots have Damian Harris, Michelle White, Stevenson, and J.J. Taylor.
Yeah.
two of these guys are going to be gone.
Stevenson was a 4th-round draft pick in this most recent draft, too.
I don't think he gets cut, although, so my guess would be somebody like James White isn't going anywhere because he serves a role.
Right.
AJ Taylor is the obvious choice to be cut.
Mm-hmm.
But, Sony Michel is most likely going to be cut.
You think so?
Well, look at this.
Well, he gets signed in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. And check out Atlanta, because I think Atlanta is just salivating right now to hop on one of these guys, especially if it's Michel. But I'm saying, like, James White's locked in. You just drafted Stevenson.
Right.
And JJ Taylor is expendable. But, Damian Harris versus Sony Michel, who are you going to keep? I think you keep Harris.
You keep
right?
Harris.
Yeah.
You keep
okay.
Harris.
He's the younger option anyway, right?
Right.
Madison Southern High School's finest. Just saying, the Eagles cut Carry On
Johnson, yeah.
Right.
He
but
was hurt.
That backfield didn't need him.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
Maybe Hoodie can swing a trade, one of his running backs that he would cut for a wide receiver. They always need wide receiver help. They got tight ends.
Yeah. Do you think you can get anything back for Sony Michel if they know that you just want to release him anyway?
No, who knows? That's what Howie would try to do. Wait for an injury. Hey, I got this guy.
That's true.
All these guys try to do that. Nobody wants to give people away if they don't have to.
Correct.
But
that's another thing too. I don't know, man. If this is just such a strange situation where everybody knows guys are going to get released. Like, that's what we're dealing with here with Zach Ertz. Right. I think it's just a game of chicken with Ertz, where teams are just begging the teams out there to release him and not buying into, and again, I don't think he gets released. And that's what we're getting right now is that he's not going to get released.
What happens to Andre Dillard?
I don't know if you can move him.
I don't know either. He's hurt now, apparently. Yeah. But, I mean, he was going to lose that job anyway, or he was not going to win that competition against Mailata.
No. And I think that's really the issue of how much, you're seeing a dip in value.
Oh, no question. But I think they could probably, once he gets healthy, move him for something, because he was – thought of as a first-round selection, and somebody would say, "Hey, I think we can coach this guy up, to at least be a swing tackle for us. He doesn't have to be necessarily a starter, but we'll give you a 6th-round pick for him."
You think you can get that much?
I don't know, but I'm saying that's what you try to do.
How much more time do you have Dillard under, though? Like, he was a first-round pick, 2 years ago?
Yes.
2019 draft. You have him under, if I'm the Eagles, I'm keeping him. Well, okay, actually, I don't know. Do you keep him until you have to then make a decision? Because you're not going to pick up the 5th-year option on the guy, but you can still keep him under a rookie contract and have him as just a highly drafted backup.
Yeah.
Does that hurt you, though? I mean, look, if Andre Dillard's not out there as a starter, does it hurt you outside of the ego hit? Yeah. Does it hurt you to have him as a backup?
There'll be cap implications, obviously.
Well, that's after his rookie deal, Harry.
Yeah.
That's after the 4 years to where you have to either pick up the 5th-year option, which I don't think they will, right?
No.
Or just let him go into free agency.
But, I mean, there's still cap implications if you trade him, too.
Correct.
So they'd have to weigh that against, thinking that he's, beyond repair or not worth keeping. They got other guys on that roster too that are second string guys that they probably think are even better than him at this point. That are cheaper.
That is true.
Right? That weren't drafted or were drafted, in the mid to late rounds.
I just don't know if you have. But is it that much of an issue until you actually have to pay them, right? Like, I get what you're saying, which is somebody drafted in the 5th round in their rookie deal is going to be paid less than somebody drafted, in the first round. But overall, Dillard isn't really hurting this team from an economic standpoint yet.
No,
that's all.
Right.
So with that said, how motivated are you just to get rid of his ass for like a 6th, maybe 7th round pick in cash versus, and this is what I'm asking, versus holding on to him as just an overpriced backup? Because he's not overpriced to the point where he's killing you.
No.
He's overpriced of where you got him to what you're getting back.
And and the disappointment factor of, missing in the first round.
Absolutely.
Which then Howie looks and says, yeah, but I hit in the 7th round because the guy who's playing instead of him is a stud.
Yep.
I'm reading that not only, is he one of the, is he the best left tackle option for the Eagles? He could end up playing himself into being one of the best left tackles in football, like this year.
Yeah, I think what's under-discussed about that point is just how much a healthy line around him, or really to the right of him.
Right, Sayamalu, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look, Sayamalu is going to be the big piece here because we know that Jason Kelsey, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson are arguably, when healthy, the best or top 5 center through right tackle you'll find in the NFL.
And don't forget about Landon Dickerson, too.
Yeah.
Because they could plug him in at any couple of those spots.
Let's see. I'm going to wait and see about Landon. Is that okay?
Okay.
Look, I don't know what to expect for him, but could Landon Dickerson upseat Troy Polamalu? Absolutely. Or Troy Polamalu. Jeez. Isaac Sayamalu? Absolutely.
Yes, he could.
Absolutely, he could. And I would have to, he ain't upseating Polamalu, that's for sure. Although Polamalu might be a better blocker right now than Dillard. You never know.
Even in retirement.
That's what I'm talking about retirement.
Even with his gold jacket on and his bottle of hair, Head and Shoulders.
He'd show up with the jacket. Nah, I don't need pads, man. He's got like that soft. Nah, I don't need pads, man. I just put somebody on their back, look up at Andre Dillard and say, "You're up, Chief."
Right.
Jeez. Unbelievable, man.
Now, did you see the Phillies have come on hard times ever since we started to think that they might be interesting for a couple of weeks?
Oh, yeah, when they beat up the Mets, who are also equally as bad.
Right, which I said, let's wait and see. They've got my interest. I'm going to watch them against these better teams now that they're playing. They lost to the Diamondbacks. And
worst team in baseball with a kid who comes off the 10-day IL and just dominates them.
Right. And in their last 7 days, this is courtesy of Kevin Kincaid on Twitter. He's a content machine, by the way.
Well, he's the only guy creating content for Crossing Broad, so I think he needs to justify his existence by putting out a ton of stuff.
Well, he does an amazing job, and apparently he was on Birds 365.
Today?
Either today or yesterday.
Okay. Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
This is not like Kevin Kincaid is a middle guest versus a Birds 365 guest, but Kincaid isn't an Eagle. Like, you don't go to Kincaid for Eagles stuff.
You go to him for everything.
You go to like Jeff Kerr.
He's like an a la carte guy.
Yeah, but that's why he's best suited for this show.
Well, I agree.
He's not an individual.
So your beef is with the brick wall gang.
Well, not beef. Like, I'm not saying, hey, they stole our guest beef. What I'm saying is that, Kincaid is a guy you go to for like fluff stuff with the Eagles,
like the top 100 people that should ring the bell for the 76ers next year.
Right. Not Jody Mack and John McMullen diving deep on the 3rd string cornerback situation with Kevin. That's all I'm saying.
No, fair point. It's a fair point.
Now, maybe they wanted to lighten it up today. Maybe they just wanted to, go in a little different direction.
It was too heavy X's and O's. They wanted to sort of lighten the mood.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I think
well, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't speak for them. But in the last 7 days, the Phillies have 34 hits, which is last in the major leagues. They've scored 17 runs, which is 29th in the major leagues. Their batting average is dead last at 183. As their on base is 29th at 274. Their slugging is last, and their OPS is obviously last.
Last
in the last 7 days in major leagues.
Lost to the worst team in baseball, at least in the National League.
Right. And their 2 stud pitchers were lousy and lost to the Reds.
Yep. Oh, man. Wheeler got pushed and poked.
2 home runs he gave up, right?
Yeah.
And Nola got batted around.
So what do we do? Do we jump right back on the D-backs tonight?
I don't know who's going tonight.
Ranger Suarez is going tonight.
Oh,
And
okay.
I can tell you, as far as Arizona,
Well, he'll go 4 innings.
Humberto Castro, right?
Okay.
Oh, no. Castellanos. Is that what it is?
Castellano?
Yeah, Castellanos.
I don't know.
Humberto Castellanos is going tonight.
If you think I'm remotely dialed in on the Diamondbacks pitching staff.
Well, look, it's either he or Suarez tonight. And I think between the two of them, like, can you do a Johnny Miller? Suarez.
Yeah.
Ranger Suarez. I don't know. Between
He's great, by the way.
Yeah, he is fantastic. I remember, actually, real quick, we got to take a break on.
It's John Miller, not Johnny Miller.
Yeah,
when you say Johnny Miller, people think the golfer and the broadcaster, former broadcaster.
That's who I'm talking about, the former broadcaster.
You're talking about John Miller, who did the Giants games and ESPN.
And also with
Joe Morgan. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard many people refer to him as Johnny, though.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe not on an interview. Well, let's bring in Johnny Miller. But I've heard, like, I'm trying to think of somebody who, like, Jay Happ apparently gets really upset when you call him Jay Happ and not J.A. Happ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's anything like that. All right, we got to take a quick break across the board here. Coming up, I actually have a pretty cool Miller story regarding Harry Callis, of all things, but that's another day, another time, maybe when Dan Schwartzman comes back on the show, because he was there for that thing. All right, it is The Middle, live on the JAKIB Media YouTube page and Sports Map Radio.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
As long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome to the Wildwoods, the perfect place where you can safely do everything or nothing at all. Catch a wave, take a nap, go for a drive, grab a bite. It's your vacation, and we're doing everything we can to make it a safe one. The Wildwoods. Your vacation, your way.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. Doc and Krause every Saturday night from 6 to 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at ibew98.org.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
7 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
This is a key. It's a family tree. It's a pair of wings. It's a secret handshake. And a ticket to anywhere in the world. It's more than a uniform. It's the door to a world most people only dream of. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Try it on at GoArmy.com.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right. Anything else on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I found the picture of Kevin Bloomfield that I'm going to send to Ron Culver and you, and maybe we can pop it up on the screen.
We can pop it on the stream, but what I'd like to see if we can get, like, because Culver is behind the board down in Houston, and he's the radio guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have the benefit of having the stream, having the cameras, all visual here.
Right, but I just want him to see it, though.
Well, no, but what I'd like him to do is, with the radio mentality that he has, to describe it to our radio audience.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
You and I have already seen it. We're using the benefit of video here, so it's easy.
Right. All right. Well, I just sent it. And 14 under won. That was the 14 under was the winning score.
Okay, so we were 8 off. Now, I wonder how many groups were in between 14 under and 6 under.
Well, and you know why we were 8 under. We should have been, or 6 under. Should have been 7.
At least 7.
We chose the wrong tee shot on the 13th hole. I was in the middle of the fairway, about 70 yards off the green, and we went with those other guys that just missed the green, but they were in the rough.
Right, and it was a tough shot all.
Yes,
yeah.
Small green, tough to hold the green from the rough.
No, that's not easy by any means.
So.
Now, Culver, do you see this picture yet? He's probably not even standing by.
No, he's probably not.
I was actually texting you guys, like, when do I look at the photo? Like, do you want instant reaction? I have not opened. I got the email. The email has been received. I have not opened the email up yet.
Okay.
Oh, are you watching the stream? How about that?
No.
Okay. Well, no. I mean, to be fair, you shouldn't have to. You're producing the radio element of it. I wouldn't subject you to both. Yeah, not on purpose, at least.
I don't need to see your faces today. I mean, I have it as one of my tabs.
That's all right. That's all right.
Does that count? I'm halfway there.
Yep.
Yeah, that counts.
The tab is open. I just not clicked on it.
Well, it's up there now for everybody to see.
Yeah.
Roll to see.
He did not have a long sleeve shirt on, so we were wrong about that.
Those are fantastic pants.
Yeah, those pants are great. But he said he was sweating his you-know-what off.
Yeah, do you think it's reversible? Like, if he folded them inside out, would the right leg all of a sudden be white and the left leg be green?
That's a great question.
Good point.
It matches up perfectly.
Yeah. Now, I had my transfusions shirt on.
Yes, which apparently other people did as well.
Yeah, that was there were 3 of them there. If I'd have known that, I'd have worn a different shirt.
What's that, Ron?
I was wondering, was it pineapple?
No, it looked more.
No,
like
they're little cocktail glasses with the purple beverage inside.
Yeah, not the purple drank.
No, totally different. Totally different.
There's a big difference in that.
Yes.
No, that's a hell of an outfit there.
It looks to me that there are not many who can pull that one off.
No, I think that's a pretty good.
He kind of has the face for it, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
And he's in radio?
No. He's just he's a listener and a fellow degenerate like us.
Yes.
Yes.
They need to be there.
Well, we need them there. That's
yes.
it. There's a big difference, right? But no, Tyree Jackson has fractured bone in his back. I'm reading this from Zach Berman. He won't require surgery, but it will take 8 to 10 weeks to recover, Harry.
Well, they'll put him on IR and they'll get him on that. You can bring guys back at a certain time late in the year. That's probably what happens.
Yeah, he's being redshirted, according to Mike Kay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that because I wanted to see him play tomorrow night.
Yes, you did. Now, was that going to impact how much you'll watch tomorrow night?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I will watch less.
I think you will. No, that was not me on the right. That was our local iHeart president, Jeff Moore.
A.K.A. Moose.
Moose from Singin' and Ding It. Right.
Correct.
How did anyone confuse that with you?
I don't know, but I'll take it because Jeff looks much better than me as a whole. So I'll take it.
Jeff has a nice tan.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way, the Phillies to score first and lose tonight are plus 380.
Score first and lose.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good value, huh?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. D-backs to score first and lose are plus 475.
Didn't they score first last night? I think Harper hit a home run to the pool last night in the 3rd inning.
Correct.
Another solo job.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you are 100% accurate here. So that changes everything for me as well now.
Yeah, you don't have to take anything else in that game then.
Yeah, I think that's the best. Boy, Ranger Suarez tonight versus Humberto Castellanos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to see. I mean, is there anything here? This guy's thrown 15 innings. This is a bullpen start, right? Am I missing anything?
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
He hasn't stretched out much. 15 innings in 8 games, 1 start. He's closed 2 games out. So this is a bullpen arm here. Ranger Suarez isn't expected to go long either.
No, he'll probably go 4 innings max.
If he can make it.
Yeah.
4 innings. Right. So, this total, everybody's going to jump on this total. That's probably what we should look at as well. The total is at 9.5. Now it's juiced to the under.
Mm-hmm.
So they're begging you to go over 9.5 on this because of the 2 pitchers.
Right.
But aren't we more concerned just about how bad the offenses are?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that might mitigate the lack of, a good arm to go deep in a game. Now, the bullpens, Phillies bullpen, they can give up runs to anybody.
All right, I got a theory here. All right, let's stretch this theory out in the break. We'll be back in 3. Well, we have a guest coming up. Rob
Yes,
L,
we do.
Right?
That's correct. Robbie E. will join us.
Coming up next. And before that, just a little theory about some baseball action, including our Phillies coming up in this 3-minute spot here on the JAKIB Media YouTube page. All right, so let's look at this really quick. The Blue Jays last night got absolutely humiliated by the Washington Nationals. It wasn't even close. Mm-hmm. And the Nats tried their damnedest to give this game up in the 8th inning, and the Jays had it down to 2, already down 6 earlier, 7 at one point, down to 2, and then Washington put up a bunch in the 9th, and they won 12-6. Point being is that I don't see Washington handling their business again. This is a pretty big letdown opportunity for a bad baseball team in Washington. So the Jays are minus 167 on the money line tonight in Washington, right? Okay. Now, let's take that and see how high we can go for the Philadelphia Phillies alternative total. So, for example, if I went under 10.5, alongside the Jays, we've got a parlay here that pays out plus 158.
Is that enough?
10.5 runs or 158 as a return?
158.
Well, we're taking 2 bets. We're taking either one you look at. You're either going under 10.5 and you're making that a plus money bet, or you're going the Jays money line, which should be minus 200 after last night, and you're making this a positive bet.
Yeah.
So realistically, though, what's more likely to happen? Under or over 10.5 runs tonight for the Phillies and Diamondbacks? It's not like the Phillies all of a sudden are just waiting to explode.
No, it'd be an under. I'd if I had to bet that, I'd bet the under.
You just don't want to bet it.
No, I'd have no interest. There he is.
What's up, Rob Ellis?
I'm an over, man. No, I wouldn't go anywhere near the Phillies the way they're playing right now. Nowhere near it. I'm with you guys.
But hold on a second. No. Why wouldn't? Okay, I get what you're saying, which is I don't want to touch the Phillies. I don't want to bet the Phillies themselves, Rob.
Yeah.
But we'll be back on the network.
He's parlaying this.
No, but hold on a second. Taking that under 10.5, because everybody believes that the bullpen start from Arizona and Ranger Suarez tonight is going to equal all of these runs. But where are they going to come from? Like, I don't know about under 9.5, but under 10.5, I'm really confident that can stay under that. I don't see this explosion from the Phillies that Harry's worried about.
No, I don't either. I mean, we fall into this trap with the Phillies all the time, whether it's betting or just talking about the team. We look at the schedule or we look at the starting pitcher and we say, it's gravy. It's not gravy because they're not a good team, right? No. I mean, good teams beat mediocre to bad teams. The Phillies are a mediocre or even a slightly less version of a mediocre team, which means It's not a given when they play the Pirates. Not a given when they play the Dodgers. Not a given when it's a bullpen game. So all these things come into play. I mean, law of averages would tell you eventually they can't collectively slump like this continually. But
one sec, Rob. Sorry.
Yeah.
Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
Well, I tell you, the old TV producer just took right over there for Rob Ellis. And he hears the music. He hears me say 1 second, and the comes, and then that's it.
Yep.
Like you have no Barrett still can't get it. Your own TV partner still can't get it right.
Nope.
Okay.
We have to cut him off on multiple times per day.
Yeah, I used to. It was it was layout, which means just shut the you know what up, man. Yeah, Barrett, good luck trying to stop that steam train.
Oh, this is the guy that would be in Barkhan's ear for the entire Daily News live show, telling him what to say.
Right.
I'm not going to go that far, but yeah, I produced the show for a long time, man. It was fun, man. That's back when there was actual live programming on that.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, that's amazing, though, is to be able to produce a show while doing a show, right? Well, you don't have to say verbatim in Barkhan's ear, right? It's not like, I don't know what the better example would be, but yeah, I mean, you're still technically doing a show so that by the time you're in front of the camera, it's probably just like, man, I should have been doing this years ago.
It did. If I had one, well, look, there's a lot of things you look back, I think, during your career and you're like, if I would have done this, I would have done that. But the one thing I would have done, I would have made the transition from behind the scenes to in front of the camera a little bit sooner. But yeah, I mean, it helped me a lot. The experience that I had that many years producing, I think made me a lot better in terms of understanding pace and flow of a show, whether it was TV or radio. So it did aid me a lot for sure.
Well, go ahead.
No, but I mean, anytime that, there was a big statistical nugget that was dropped on that show, this is the guy who provided it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I was a very, TV producing and radio producing are two different animals, right?
Right.
Radio producing, you're providing some nuggets here and there, but TV, it's a constant flow. It's a constant timing thing. Radio is a lot more loose. Like there's advantages and disadvantages to both, but you got to really be like on everything the director's doing, everything your graphics people are doing, everything your audio people are doing, calling for this, calling for that. I need this piece of video. You got to be anticipating 10 steps ahead that the discussion may go here. So I better have this piece of B-roll, which is video,
right.
Like all those things.
Did you ever produce live sports?
No,
games?
I worked on live broadcast, but I was never actually the producer. Like I would do a bunch of different things, helping out with graphics, helping out with stats. I used to, and one of my real fun jobs way back in the day, I didn't do it a ton, but I used to keep track of balls and strikes during the TV broadcast for when it was Harry Callis.
Wow.
And the crew. Yeah, which it sounds like a little job, but you got to really be paying attention to a baseball game because every ball that's swung at or fouled or missed is a strike. And if you mess that up, man, those guys are not happy. So, Harry would sit there. He'd have a heater going, man.
Right.
Robbie, what do we got, man? I give him stuff during the break, and it was fun, man.
That's awesome.
Fun job, yeah.
That's amazing, man. So what's going on? Go ahead.
No, I'm telling you, this guy still to this day, every Eagles game will chart every play on his own on a legal pad at home while watching the game. And I used to tell him, Rob, you don't need to do that. You can just print it off that night from NFL.com. He goes, that's not the way I watch a game.
And I'm still a lunatic. Like Harry, I'm doing the post game show for WIP, but I'm doing the preseason game. And at one point it was like the early fourth. And like there are dudes, and you guys all follow college football, so do I.
Right.
But guys, I've never heard of in my life, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, how did this happen? That I'm actually starting, the second series of the fourth quarter in the first preseason game. It's a sickness, man.
The guy's going to be working at Walmart next week, and you're writing down him on a play sheet.
It's true.
Right.
You know what? That reflects more on me than it does any very poor manner.
Well, speaking of the Eagles, like, what are your impressions thus far of Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and all the usual names we'd like to talk about?
Well, look, I think it's good that they looked good in the inter squad thing, or the against the
joint practices.
Joint practice. It can't hurt, right?
Right.
I don't think any of that stuff hurts you. All it can do is gain confidence for you. But we go through this every year, guys. You know this, and all of a sudden somebody has a good practice, and this is the redemption tour for Jalen Reagor. Like, okay, he had a great catch. He looked like Odell Beckham twice so far. But let's just see it a little bit more. I'm cautiously optimistic with this team. I don't think they're. It really does come down to if the older guys can hold up, then you give yourself a chance on both sides of the line, I think. And if you're okay in the trenches, you're going to be okay in general. I think the jury's still out with Jalen Hurts, whether or not he can throw. I think, we always get caught up in everything else, and it's all the other things are there, intangibles and all that, but can he throw? But I think he's due the chance. I think he's owed the chance to see this year what it is. I know the Watson stuff's never going to go away, but I think at least they're in an interesting year where you can sort of watch and see what he ends up doing. He doesn't have bad weapons around him. Like, I think they have the potential for an okay running game. I think they have the potential to have some pretty good receivers. And you know what? That tight end core might be pretty nasty.
Yeah, that's the thing where I feel like Zach Ertz, you mentioned the tight end core, right? Like, there's all of this discussion this offseason that's been predicated on what happened last year, which is he and everybody else looked like they forgot how to play football, which we know isn't true. So all of a sudden, and I look at this from everything, right? From just a team standpoint, a DFS standpoint, a betting standpoint, whatever it may be. But Zach Ertz is probably going to be the biggest sleeper week to week because teams are still going to prepare for Dallas Goedert first. And all of a sudden, there's a former Pro Bowler out there who didn't forget how to play football that's probably going to take advantage of the second or possibly third defensive matchup that they have allocated. My point being, Rob, is that I don't think teams are game planning Zach Ertz this year, and I think Ertz is a perfect opportunity to take advantage of that.
No, Eytan, you're right. I mean, I think about it from this standpoint. He's got a perfect combination of walk year versus I want to stick it to the organization and show them because they should have ripped up my contract long ago. Like, he's got two boulders on his shoulder, feeling kind of older. All right, now. That was
oh, nice.
All right, Bruce, man for man now. Yeah. So, but no, it's really I'm in agreement with you. I'm not one who's 100% committed to Goddard yet. Like, I need to see it for an entire season. I need to stay healthy. I need you to consistently catch the ball. But for what quarterback's best friend in addition to the running game is having that safety valve there for a tight end, and he's got two pretty good ones, man.
Mm-hmm. No, but you're right, though. Everybody's gone crazy over, Jalen's catches yesterday, like they were again with Quez Watkins last week in the game where you saw that blazing speed. But you're starting to, without getting crazy, you're right. Like, if you put them with Devontae Smith on the field, I mean, that's some – we just aren't used to that here, having dynamic wide receivers, multiple guys on the field at once.
Yep. Yeah, and I really get the impression this coach and this coaching staff – will play to strengths. It's not going to be, this is what we do, square peg round hole. Like, I think he's going to do whatever he has to do to emphasize and to be able to, just consistently move the ball down the field, move the chains. I do believe that. Like, I get the impression from Sirianni, it's crazy early, right? But we get so caught up in some of the other stuff with the rock, paper, scissors and the T-shirts and all that.
And the youth of the staff.
Attacking sleep. Yeah. But I think I really do get the sense that they're good teachers. And I think the emphasis on fundamentals was something that had to be done considering the way last year went and how sloppy this team got. So I think that's going to be key too. Like, I don't think this team's going to shoot itself in the foot a ton.
No, I just don't know what to expect around this team, right? Like, I don't know what this division's going to be like. I don't know what the New York Giants are going to be like. And that's the team that I'm most concerned about because all things are equal. The Cowboys returned the best quarterback in this division. Defense is going to be better than what it was last year, even though it may not be exponentially better. And Washington has even more consistency at the quarterback position than they had last year and won the division. So what I'm concerned about now is, can the Eagles finish 3 out of 4 as a floor? Like, that's my floor for this Eagles team, which is just beat the Giants. And look, I think if that's the case and they look like they're better than last year, it's something to build on. It's not something to go crazy about and call for people's jobs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, think about, just put in perspective for a minute. They won 4 games last year. They win 8. They're doubling their win total. They're still a team that's under 500, right? But like, that would be looked at as, they could in this division. No, I mean, that's a hell of a step for a first-year head coach and basically a first-year quarterback. To me, that coming away from this season thinking Sirianni can coach and Jalen Hurts is a legitimate quarterback is way more important than putting any number on a win-loss total for me. And that's easy to say now. I understand you're in the heart of it and it's week 7 and you're going crazy if they lose a tight game. Like, I get that. But you're right, Eytan. It's an interesting division in the sense that you look at Dallas's offense, and this is assuming Dak stays healthy, which is a big assumption because he's shut down again for something else. But what would concern me with them is there's tons of firepower. It looks like Zeke woke up and he lost some pounds and whatever. I still don't know about their defense. I'm not a big McCarthy fan. So there's there's the plus and the minus. And then you're right. Washington, if Fitzpatrick's even decent, which he's more than capable of being, that defense is nasty.
Yeah.
They're really good defensively. And then I don't know, the Giants are, for me, the one thing that keeps holding me back with them is the quarterback. And I just can't in good faith have a lot of confidence in a team with Daniel Jones running the show. And that to me is ultimately what keeps them, at least when I look at it before the season starts, as the 4th of a 4-team race.
Yeah, that and also their offensive line. I still need to see it, because
they've
had issues.
Healthy. If he gets hurt, we know how that thing just falls into the abyss with them.
Can we also, Rob, come through the end of this season and say, hey, I feel pretty good about Sirianni and his ability to coach and teach, but we don't think that the quarterback is the answer, and we got to retrench and use those draft picks or make a move for a Deshaun Watson type. We could also have that too, right?
Yeah, you could. And that would be a weird dynamic because the team would probably be really bad and you're still coming away from it saying the coach is good, but that's a distinct possibility. I think this is really a trial run for Hurts. And I honestly, I don't think 4 games was enough. I think you're in a spot where it's just way too hot to get near Deshaun Watson right now. I think the prudent thing is to just let it play out a little bit, let the civil stuff, if there's any criminal stuff, if there's going to be a suspension handed down, let Houston wear all that. Then try and make your move after that. And look, if somebody else wants to really gamble and grab them up this year and give up a king's ransom, all right, so be it. But I got to let that play a little bit right now.
I guess they're convening a grand jury right now, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's basically, from what I've read, there are, and it's not technicalities so much, but there is legalities where at least room to hit Watson for something that is under the guise or under the legality, if you will, of human trafficking. And that is now, now look, this is
that revolves flying a masseuse to him, right? And,
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And then having somebody who would essentially be imprisoned in the moment in order to then, and again, this is all allegedly, this is what the prosecution is looking to do. But even if a grand jury is convened, we've all watched enough Law and Order to know that doesn't mean there's guilt or anything along those lines. But the backstory of it is now, and actually, you know what? Let's do this in the break real quick. We'll be back in 3 on Sports Map Radio. Rob Ellis hanging out with us on the JAKIB Media YouTube page as well. So what do you think the value is right now? Because I can't imagine, Rob, that he's worth the same on the open market as he would be pre-allegations, right?
Yeah, you can get him at a discount rate right now. Like, I don't think it takes 3 1s and whatever else we're hearing, someone who's going to contribute right away. You can get him in the discount rack right now, but do you really want that? I mean, you really want to bring that into your organization right now? You have to go above and beyond vetting this properly. But the problem is, even if you do that, you can't anticipate what's going to happen with the league. You can't anticipate what's going to happen with the law. Like, you might think you know, but you don't know. Could there be more civil suits coming? Like, this isn't Michael Vick did what he did his time, promising to be a better person coming in. It's apples and oranges. Like, they are willing to give a second chance. Yes, I get that comp, but the other comp doesn't fly for me with Vic. It's a way different situation. This stuff is all up in the air right now.
Right.
I don't know. And the other thing is, you guys know this, like, Goodell doesn't need any court of law to tell him anything.
No.
And he can just say, you're whacked for the year.
Right.
And you want to give up 3 1s and have this guy just sitting on ice with all kinds of stuff hanging over his head for a year? I wouldn't.
Well, and they don't have the 3 1s right now.
Right.
That's another issue. You know, the whole Carson Wentz thing, we were thinking 2 weeks ago or whenever it happened, like, oh, there goes the 3rd first-round pick.
Yes.
Now we're starting to, hear things that he might be ready for week 1 along with Quentin Nelson. So that's back in play.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the one thing when I saw him out there and no cast or anything, I'm saying to myself, didn't we see this before where this guy rushes himself back and then it causes the ripple effect? I would just worry about that a little bit. Maybe this thing was no big deal and they got that old break out of there and it's all good. It seems like he's probably going to be ready for the first game, but with him, man, you're holding your breath every week.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Even if he's back, there's a good chance based on his career that he's going to be hurt again.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, man, it's a headache that Eagles fans don't have to deal with anymore. But if you're a Colts fan, I mean, maybe you're better off not knowing some of this stuff. Ignorance is bliss, but he's an accident waiting to happen. I mean, it's constantly holding your breath with Carson.
Now, another guy we hold our breath with just signed a huge contract yesterday, I guess it was, with Joel Embiid. What do you think about that investment? I guess they had to do it. There's no way around it.
It feels like, Harry, there was no choice. Like, I think ultimately, man, I love the guy.
Me too.
I love the way he plays. I love his personality. There's nothing not to like other than the injury thing. And when you're talking about like a back end of a deal with $54 million guaranteed per year, it's just
insane.
Destroyed as an organization if he gets hurt. If he becomes, one of these guys who's just permanently damaged, and he hasn't gotten through 1 year yet. One real full year. Now, I mean, part of last year was he's dragging around the bad knee. And he's getting no help from Simmons. So there was a lot of things coming into play. But, man, it's a massive risk. And it's one you almost have to take if you're an organization with the way this thing is set up with the CBA.
Right.
You have to do it, or else he's going to end up walking. But
what's the alternative, really? Right?
You don't have one. And
the
other thing is, like, if Simmons at this point was great, I'm not saying you would not feel the same pressure to get this deal done. But you may just, Embiid might be the last man standing from the whole process thing and holding this whole thing afloat right now. So he had so much leverage in this, and he didn't even do it with an agent. How about that? I mean, that's unbelievable, but good for Joel.
Well, that's the thing, though, is there really isn't anybody else that is on this team that's going to make a shot for the MVP. Like, think about this. The only issue we have with Joel Embiid is that he doesn't play enough. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, he finally was human in one game, really 1.5 games in a series in which he was playing through a knee injury where everybody was dog bleep. So it's kind of like holding Jalen Hurts or Jalen Reagor accountable for last year's miserable offensive performance when everybody was involved. My point being is that he's the MVP of the league if he plays 75 games a year. Or at least is in the conversation, like top 3 every year. So my thing is, if they could find a way to work this out where he only plays like 68 games in the regular season and is full on healthy like Shaq used to be for the playoffs, this is worth it, exponentially worth it.
Yeah, and I think you have to look at it with Daryl Morey from an organizational standpoint saying, we'll get that, even though it's been elusive, we'll get that compliment for him in a Simmons deal, which will make him that much better, which will make us that much better, which will make this more long-term than what it has been.
I heard a guy. Are we coming back?
No, we're at breaking at the top now. So we're on the network. We just broke from the network. So this is where normally we would say to our guest, you can hang out as long as you like.
Well,
this isn't.
He's got to go.
I know. I'm actually good. You can feed me. I got my. I had to pick my daughter up, but my son's doing it, so I'm clear. I'm good.
Okay. Well, I heard a guy on national radio yesterday subbing for another national host say that it's a foregone conclusion that the Sixers will end up with Damian Lillard.
Really?
That's not true.
Well, that's what this guy said.
Look,
Taylor, Harry.
What's that?
Joy Taylor have another theory?
No.
This isn't our buddy Zach Gelb out here, is it?
No, it was not. It was not.
It?
It was the guy. Who's the guy? I forget his name, but the guy that. No, but he was working with him. This was on Fox, and it was the guy that started that aggregation website. That was really big.
The big
yes,
lead?
That guy.
Well, you want
the first time he's right about anything.
Well, I'm just telling
you. The first time that I'd listen to him.
Yeah.
Here's my theory, right? I think Dame, and you could actually credit him for this. I think he's doing it the smart way. Like, I think he's not coming out guns a-blazing because he doesn't want to have the rep in the city of Portland that he's a bad guy or he was the one who broke this up. He's put out enough subtle hints that to make it look like, man, what else do you want me to do? The organization hasn't gotten me any help, 10 years running or whatever it's been that he's been there. And it's an eventuality that he's going to have to move on. If he looks at that team and he looks at the rest of that Western Conference,
I know
he knows he has no shot. You're telling me he's just fine with that?
No,
I don't.
Shouldn't be.
Like,
I think he's a big competitor. I think you're right about that.
I'm
it was
with you.
Jason McIntyre. That's the guy who said.
Okay. Look,
Yeah.
I think he wants out. And I think he's made it very clear. And I think they're working behind the scenes to make it happen. I also think the Sixers know, despite all this nonsense they're throwing out there, there's no way they can bring Ben back. I just don't buy it.
Right. But here's the other thing, too, about it, which is just because, okay, yes, everything you said about the Sixers and about Ben Simmons is right. And I'm not saying you're saying this, but I think the McIntyres and others are looking at this thinking, well, it's inevitable that Simmons doesn't play for the Sixers and Damian Lillard wants out. Let's connect these two. But I think we have to factor in what's going on in Portland first and foremost, which is twofold. One, TJ Olshey has all of the power. The guy in Paul Allen, who used to be there to kind of check it, he's gone. So we've seen this, like Chip Kelly, Howie Roseman, whoever you want to look. Olshey, this is a battle of ego right now because Olshey didn't take Lillard. That's not Lillard's guy. CJ McCollum is Olshey's guy. So everything right now is about building up a team to where you don't have to then trade CJ in a year or two and keep CJ happy. My point being is that Ben Simmons is such an obvious fit, and Ben Simmons would work so well next to a guy in McCollum who could just shoot the lights out and not care. My point in all of this is that if Portland really wanted Ben Simmons, the trade would have already been done. Because what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for Daryl Morey and TJ Oshie? I see that now.
Not TJ Oshie.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we waiting for these guys to hammer out, an extra second round pick? Are we waiting for Minnesota to give in, maybe
they're waiting for a third team.
But maybe let me throw one more in there.
Yeah.
Maybe the Sixers are hesitant to part with either fill in the blank or both Maxey or Thibault. And maybe that's a deal breaker from Portland's standpoint.
Yeah, Rob, I agree. So my point of it, I think we're on the same vein here. My point of it is that stuff usually doesn't budge, right? Like Daryl Morey is a competent individual to where if he says, I'm not trading Tyrese Maxey, what changes in 3 or 4 or 6 weeks to where all of a sudden he does change, trade Tyrese Maxey? And then again, if Olshey says, I ain't giving up an extra first round pick, then all of a sudden, what changes? The only thing that would change is something drastic like that, which is either Olshey giving up something extra to get like Maxey back or
the
giving
deadline,
up Maxey.
or the deadline of the season preseason starting. And you can't bring Simmons back here.
Harry, that's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that's not a little thing. That's a big thing. That's a pressure burst pipes kind of thing. Because if he's really not returning like Embiid's calls, and who knows what's real and what isn't.
Which I don't believe. By the way.
I hear you. But if there is that kind of acrimony, like I get it that he doesn't really care about Daryl Morey, but like if you're really doing that to Embiid or whatever, like then Embiid is at some point is going to be like, dude, you're killing me on the court. And you won't even return my phone call. Like screw you.
He doesn't want him here.
Right.
But again, like this is what I'm trying to ask. If we all have a deal, a 3-person deal in place, or we're talking about making some deal, Rob Ellis has this new signed Tom Brady NFT, and he's going to trade it to Harry, and I want to get in on this as well. We already have an idea of where we're not going to budge, right? What changes over time here? I agree. Like, okay, the trade or the start of the season happens, but do you think the dynamics of that deal change? And if I don't think they change, so why wait? Right? Like, are you just playing chicken at this point with Olshey or Morey and just hoping that in the next couple of weeks or months, really before the season starts, that something changes?
I don't know if it's chicken. The other thing I would say too, Morey's been a very aggressive, whatever his title is. He's not a GM, but the director of basketball.
Overseer, right.
Yeah, his president.
I don't want to say that people, somebody who's overseeing the operation.
But you look at, let's be real about this Sixers offseason. Underwhelming would probably be a good description, right?
Thus far, yeah.
Drummond and Niang aren't really moving the needle that much. Solid additions, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at Brooklyn, with what they've done.
And the Knicks.
Milwaukee, the Knicks. Right. We could run through the East. Like, is Daryl Morey, if he's being really honest with himself, does he think he can run it back with Simmons and get past that?
No.
I don't think he does. Now, Eytan, you're right in the sense that it doesn't have to happen before the season starts, but I think it would make for some very awkward, team bonding, camaraderie, chemistry if he's back. I
agree on that.
Yeah.
And we're going to be back in about 15. So let me just wrap up and say this. I agree. Like, he can't come back. I just don't know what I don't know why either side would budge if they know that, hey, he's going to be traded anyway. That's all I'm saying. But
partnership with JAKIB.
now, do you have to go? Or are you going to hang with us? Because we're going to keep you until you leave.
I'm good.
On the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
Boy, I tell you, man, there's... So Rob Ellis is in the house, and we were ripping Kevin Kincaid earlier in the day, right? And Kevin,
what did Kevin?
Yeah. Well, he's
no, you ripped Kevin. I didn't rip Kevin.
Kevin was my producer at Channel 3.
Yeah.
So when I did weekend sports there.
I called him a content machine. And then Eytan went on this whole diatribe because he found out that he was on Birds 365 and he was saying what type of a guest he was. And he's not.
On you, is that what it is?
He's like a fluff guest.
No. I made sure to explicitly say this was not a jealousy thing about stealing guests. It was like, all right, you're closer to bringing on a comedian to talk about his thoughts or her thoughts about the season than you are an insider with Kincaid on a show specific to Birds.
You realize this is going to get back to him, and he's never going to return my texts anymore.
Harry just lost a guest.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he comes on my shows too outside.
Oh yeah, well, he's not coming on him anymore.
But I laugh.
75 shows that you need to book, so I wouldn't be thinking
right.
That is true. I can't keep biting people's hands. Yeah. But it's hilarious because as a lot of you locally know, Rob Ellis not only... When does the show return, by the way, on CBS? Odds on.
The Sunday, Eagles, the first NFL Sunday it starts. So,
okay.
Yeah, that will be on Odds on CBS 3, 8:30 a.m.
And you will be doing the Eagles post-game show, correct, on WIP this year? On top of other shifts.
And Eagles post-game show on WIP and in the fifth quarter. Yeah, both.
Nice. So I laugh because your co-workers over there, and Joe and John, I guess, are taking the week off or whatever it may be. And somebody is like incessantly tweeting Kevin Kincaid, Radio Wars question. Is there a switch at the midday show? Joe and John have been out the past 2 days. It's like, you can't get away from this stuff.
Yeah,
you guys remember, you take a day off, you get tweeted.
Everybody thinks you got fired.
Did they fire you?
It's
unbelievable.
This is tame now, and this is child's play compared to the heights of the Radio Wars now, for sure.
All right, Rob, real quick, because I have a question for you. We're going to be back in 3 on Sports Map Radio.
Okay.
All right. What would you best like to be remembered for when it comes to radio soundbite immortality? You have two. You have two to choose from. Like for me, it's probably going to be "Get Off My Radio Show, You Crumb." Right? nobody heard that before when I was yelling at people back in the day.
Anytime you can work crumb in.
Right. Now, Harry has a couple. My favorite is, a lot of people's favorites, I'm sure, is going to be "What Is Going On Back There." I'm not a doctor, though, is fantastic.
That was solid.
A lot of use. So Harry has like a bunch to choose from, but the two that I would throw at you would be the most obvious one, which has been used, including Kevin Kincaid. And this is why I get on him, because he doesn't give you a tag on Twitter. You deserve royalties.
Yep. Yeah.
You know where I'm going, right? Which is, let's get it back to the Eagles.
Right.
And the other is, you have no clout.
Yeah. Well, what about, do we really want to do this?
Well, yeah.
That was
I would say
spectacular.
they're my three. Let's get it back to the Eagles. And you're right. It is bastardized and stolen without any kind of ever. And Kevin is a chief,
content lifter.
Lifter of this one. It's so bad that when I'm not even at stations, they're using it. Like, I mean, it's wild. But yes, that is correct. That would be my number one. I think I've had some other ones. You have no clue.
Right, that was awesome.
No clue.
The mix would be one of them. That was one of or
Put him in the mix.
Yeah, put him in the mix.
Harry's having like flashbacks right now.
Oh, you know what? I'm telling you, when I was working with Rob, it was the greatest, the second go round, because I could literally see the program director sitting on one of his shoulders, and I was the guy on the other shoulder. It was just like when we brought the wife carrying guy on, and Andrew somehow found him, and Rob is looking at me in all seriousness. Do we really want to do this? Because he knew he was hearing Nahigian in his ear. Like, I mean, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Sit us down, right? And I'd be fried. Harry'd be sitting there. Harry didn't give two bleeps, but I'm sitting there, and because I'm getting the brunt of it, because I'm the driver.
Because he wouldn't talk to Harry. He would never. You and I.
Harry wouldn't even make eye contact.
No, but you know what was amazing is like this is the greatest trick that Harry Mays has ever played, which is he is just as equal a part of these shows as you, as me, as anyone else. But nobody ever talks to him. Nobody ever says, "Hey, Harry, don't do that." It's could you tell Harry not to do that?
Right.
What? Sitting right next to me, and he would tell me, "Can you tell Harry this?" I'm like,
seriously, he texts you. Tell Harry not to say this.
Right.
My favorite. This is the only I'll say about this. My favorite. We would sit down.
Yeah.
And he'd show us the software just to prove that he has the capability of doing it. We knew he did. I believe you. I don't. And he'd say, 10:45. You mentioned Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Everybody was out.
I'm out.
Played on a Sunday. I'm like, you see the tune out right there? We lost a caller.
Hold on, real quick.
Are you serious?
Hold on.
Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry May.
Poor Rob Ellis. He just wanted to come on for 10 minutes and talk about the Phillies' misery, the Eagles' camp, Joel Embiid. It's now 35, 40 minutes, and we've
what happens when Barrett takes a day off? It's
Barrett's been off for 3 days.
He's probably already invoiced JAKIB Media for his time here.
You should.
Thing. Hey, can I just get one more sports thought from you? Because I don't know if this is going to take flight now across the airwaves locally here in Philadelphia. A question maybe attached to a prefix of a phone number. But do you anticipate local outrage that the Philadelphia 76ers are not slated to play on Christmas Day? 610-632-0975.
No, I didn't even need that. I got it in my own house. My son is he's a Sixers lunatic, right? And
good job by you raising him that way.
Yeah, and he literally, like, when that was broken yesterday at 3:00, went nuts. He's like, explain to me how Boston's playing Christmas Day. Okay. We beat them last year. We beat them up. They don't have anybody of interest. Danny Ainge is out. He sucked. Brad Stevens, and he went on a 15-minute diatribe.
He raises a good point, though.
That's the one. Like I said to him, Bobby, I get New York. It's the Knicks. It's blah blah blah.
And Trae Young going back against them.
Yeah, all of that makes every other game you can justify. You can't justify the Celtics. I'm sorry.
Who are they playing? The Celtics.
I have it right here. Sorry.
Milwaukee, isn't it Milwaukee?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just give me 1 sec.
Well, that's basically just Milwaukee, and they happen to be playing like.
Well, no, Boston is I think you can make the argument for both. Like Boston is going to attract a huge local market, like Philadelphia is going to attract The issue I would have is the noon game more so than anything.
Which is what?
Atlanta at New York.
Yeah, but they met in the playoffs last year. Trae Young dominated and was taunting those guys.
Why not Atlanta at Philly or Philly at Atlanta? Give me that.
Like that I agree with you, Eytan. Like the Boston market and Philly market cancel themselves out. So if you're going to plug in a big market, a top 7 market, Philly goes into one of those slots, whether it's the second game or the first game, 100%. But I get like Harry, you're right. I mean, the way all that played out in the Garden with Trae Young and his Trae Young's hairline and all that stuff, that I get it. The Boston one, I just can't. That's the one you can't make a lot of sense of.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, very true.
So what do you have on tap today? Or when are you back on the radio? Let's start there.
I'll be on today's Wednesday. Tomorrow night after the Eagles. I'll be on tomorrow.
Nice.
And back on Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. And then Sunday I'm at the Link from the open practice.
Oh, the open practice, yeah.
Have you seen I haven't seen this yet, and I know technically well, you're not on TV, so you can talk about it. But have you seen the new book that's down at the Link, courtesy of Fox Bet? This thing is
no, I've heard about it. I haven't
seen it. It's a monster. I'm hoping that we can do props and locks there this year for like a couple of shows ahead of anything Thursday night. But
what level of the stadium is it on?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
On the suite level, I don't know. I from what I've heard from people who have seen it, because they'll give tours to season ticket holders.
Right.
Just people have been around. They said it's unbelievable. The Eagles generally do things unbelievably well, like they do it to the hilt. So my guess would be that it's probably pretty sweet. You're gonna have a lot of people in there not paying a whole lot of attention to, or they'll be paying attention to the game, but they won't be out in their seats. You could see some because people are just living in there, trying to get as much action as they can possibly get.
So what's the future then? The future would be, because you're right, and there's always this pendulum that swings where it's like, oh my goodness, now we're encouraging people. They're still in the stadium, they're still buying tickets, so it's not like they're losing money, but it's like, oh my goodness, now we're encouraging people to move away from the game. I imagine that there's probably going to be, I don't know, how far away are we from having every seat to where there's like a mini monitor to where you can keep an eye. I mean, look, basically it's your phone because you can get on the app. But I wonder if there's something instead to, I don't know, like
where you don't have to leave your seat to place a bet in the stadium.
Yes,
exactly. Eytan, it's gonna probably be attached to the seat in front of you.
Like an airplane.
Yeah,
right.
That's what it's going to be. Either above it or right into it. You'll have a thicker seat, which you're going to figure out with the space and whatnot. But 100% that's coming, and that'll be within the next 5 years.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I don't think it's going to be much longer than that. You're right. Do you have the convenience of your phone? Of course, but that's just an added little attractive. Hey, you get your own, tablet right there.
Maybe that'll only be available in certain sections, like to be able to do that, to make those sections maybe more, sought after and expensive.
Yeah. I think so. Or maybe, I don't know what you do. Do you do out of town games off of that where you because you want people to pay attention to the, I don't know. I think
road games. That's a great point. Like open that thing up for road games, right?
You need instantaneous. What's happening? I want to bet the Dallas Giants game. Boom. I have the ability to do that where there might be a little bit of delay, whether it's my phone or whatever, and you have the immediacy of that.
Right. Now, different topic. I hate them, but they're out. And the preseason football polls in college. Any thoughts on the poll that came out just the other day?
It's all the usual suspects, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with a couple exceptions. I think what Matt Campbell's done at Iowa State is nothing short of remarkable, right? And that
they got a good quarterback and a good running back returning. They're going to be good.
I'll give you one more. It's going to be interesting with Iowa State. Anthony Beck's son, Rocco Beck. I'm telling you,
Beck.
He's a senior in high school this year.
Unbelievable.
Watch out for that kid. He's going to Iowa State.
Oh, he is. Okay.
So how about that? I'll give you Iowa State.
It's amazing.
This is Monsignor Bonner, though, connection, though.
Correct. You are correct, sir.
Right. You got a little text ahead of time and say, hey, can you promote my kid?
I didn't even give Anthony a heads up. I'm just, whatever. But Coastal Carolina being ranked. I'll tell you the team that I think
Liberty should have been ranked. Come on. Let's be honest. They have a first-round quarterback to be drafted. Yep. And I agree with you. Coastal being ranked, no issue there. I personally think Liberty should be ranked. That's all. I think Arizona State's going to fall hard.
I do too. And the jury's still out for me with Oklahoma's defense. I know what Rattler capable of doing. The one other thing that I think is going to be really interesting, if he has enough help around him, I'm a big Sam Howell fan of North Carolina. He's my favorite quarterback coming out this year. So I'm going to keep a pretty close eye on them and what they do.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing is the classic reload from a lot of the upper echelons. It's really no surprise up top. You know, and I see some teams that I think it's mostly on rep, like Notre Dame. They lost a lot with Book and a couple other players. And I know that Kelly's a good recruiter and they will reload, but I think the jury's out on Notre Dame a little bit. For the most part, though, I didn't disagree with a lot of the top 5 or 7.
So here's one to take a look at. Actually, there are 2 teams to take a look at ahead of time, in my opinion here. One is just because of their conference and their schedule. I think Cincinnati, starting at 8, is a good number to where they can incrementally move up and have a legit shot at making the playoffs this year. The other team, and it's twofold here, the Ducks are sitting at 11, and they have a legit shot at going into Columbus week 2 and taking advantage of an Ohio State team that has a brand new quarterback. And I know most of their 4th-string quarterbacks are better than 90% of college football, but you catch Ohio State early at the right time, that Pac-12 is winnable for the Ducks. All of a sudden, at 11, they're plus 650 to make the playoffs, plus 5,000 to win the title. If they beat Ohio State week 2, that's the best outside 6 or 7 team you can find to make the playoffs. Now, again, they have to go in and beat Ohio State, but those are the 2 that I think, because you're right. A lot of times we say, oh yeah, look who's locked in, top 4, top 5. Nobody 8 through 15 has a shot to make it. Those would be the 2 that I would look at outside of the ones that you mentioned.
I like it. I like it. Does Oregon, off the top of your head, anybody else besides Ohio State out of conference tough? If that's the case, because I think they can handle themselves pretty easily in the Pac-12. So I think it'd be a team to really look at.
Eytan bullish on a Pac-12 squad.
I like it.
Look, I cheated a little bit and talked to our buddy Michael Calabrese about this on another show. Out of conference, no. I mean, you're pretty much locked in. Fresno State is where you open up with. You're at Ohio State, then Stony Brook, and then it's Arizona, Stanford, Cal, Oregon. You've got Colorado, Washington State, Oregon State at the end, and then Utah before Oregon State.
Yeah, that's very doable. Yeah. I like that. That's a good.
The one team that I would be concerned about, actually, about all of this, ironically, outside of Ohio State, the one team I would be concerned about, especially because it's on the road, Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to be pretty good this year.
Everybody on defense, except
and
for
their quarterback too.
Yes, and their quarterback.
Well, and it's all of his guys at this point. For a couple of years, and it was easy to bag on him, but for a couple of, or how I would say bag, for a lot of those years, it was inherited. Jim Mora stuff. Now it's all his guys. So they're going to be interesting. They're a team to just kind of watch. I don't think they're going to win, a national championship. But
no. But look, you sit at 7 wins. I think their win total is at 7.5. I would go over on that.
I would jump over on that. Yep.
All right, brother. Is there anything else that we can help get out, promote?
If you get it, go to anywhere you get your podcast or PhiladelphiaEagles.com. We did a second season of Return Game. It's called Birds, Boys, and Bad Blood. It's basically 9-10 episodes of the history of the Eagles and Cowboys rivalry.
Wow.
It has some heavy hitters in it. Not people who played, coaches, but also stars from the Philadelphia area talking about their history with the Cowboys. Some really good stuff in there. Myself, D Gunn are the hosts. It's great. Really well done. So if you get a chance, you're driving home or driving to work, it's a nice little commuter for you.
Birds, Boys, and Bad Blood.
Yeah, Eagles Cowboys rivalry. It's Return Game Season 2. This is the second season we've done. So
nice.
Appreciate it.
Fantastic.
No, Rob, we appreciate you, man.
Anytime. Love hanging with you guys.
All right, brother.
Thanks, Rob.
Enjoy it. That's Rob Ellis at Rob_Ellis. All right, we got to take a break across the board here. We're back in 3 on the JAKIB Media YouTube page and SportsMap Radio.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB,
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid
as long as you face the fear.
and keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull beef jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome to the Wildwoods, the perfect place where you can safely do everything or nothing at all. Catch a wave, take a nap, go for a drive, grab a bite. It's your vacation, and we're doing everything we can to make it a safe one. The Wildwoods. Your vacation, your way.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. and Krause every Saturday night from 6 till 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at ibew98.org.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
This is a key. It's a family tree. It's a pair of wings. It's a secret handshake. And a ticket to anywhere in the world. It's more than a uniform. It's the door to a world most people only dream of. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Try it on at GoArmy.com.
Look at the stream here. Joey B, very active. Liberty and Coastal Carolina, the ACC in a few years. I don't see that happening. What else we got here?
Oh, man.
People weighing in on Robbie E's quotes. Yeah, how much does your wife weigh? That was mine, actually. That was mine. That was during the wife carrying interview. Our program director hated it. But by the way, the program director checked in on Twitter today during the show.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was a tweet put up by the podcast account, Swing It and Ding It, of a picture of, because one of the prizes was this like 70 some odd inch TV screen that we gave away. And the guy who won it was driving down the Schuylkill Expressway going home from the outing. And thank goodness he had a convertible car, because there's no way it would have fit in.
Oh, my goodness.
Car. So the top was down and the TV box is sitting in there, and somebody snapped a picture of it, got it to us, and we put it up on Twitter. And I, retweeted the tweet with a quote saying, "Quite a haul, Haul." The old program director sees that tweet and goes, "Not Hall and Oates, Har."
Oh, man. Now, don't you have to put Hall and Oates like HOUL and Oates?
Well, I don't know if there's a rule on that, but he did not do. He said the band Hall and Oates.
We don't need a ruling on that.
No,
we get a ruling on that.
No, I thought I thought that was pretty funny.
That's great, by the way. That's hilarious. We should get him on, What's he doing? He won't come on? Promote the hell out of his station. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, right.
He could confirm all this stuff that we keep talking about.
Right.
Right? That's all I'm saying.
You want me to text him? I'll try to get him on.
Why not? Well, we have another guest coming on, so it wouldn't be today.
No, not today.
Probably have to be like Monday because Friday is going to be all recap of the game.
Yeah, right. Well, we have Mark McMillan, too, on Friday.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
It can't be more than just that either.
Right.
No, good call on that. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we'll have to try to get him on Monday.
And how about Brace getting out of doing his show yesterday?
Well, he's the boss.
I know.
So he just pins it on / Joe Tansey. And look, don't let John Jansen fool you. He's a mini me. And he's not going to be mini much longer the more work he keeps doing. But this guy he does more stuff than me.
He's on all the time.
Yeah, because he can't help it.
Right.
Because he's like me, where it's like if he goes too long without a platform, he goes crazy. That's the whole thing I'm saying is so Brace took full advantage of these of Jansen first and foremost, and then other guys there. So yeah, look, it pays to be the boss,
right?
And wouldn't you do the same damn thing?
Of course I would.
Okay, there you go.
We got Brendan Deeg coming up.
Yes, we do.
He's a writer at the Football Post, and he also has his own podcast. He's actually a co-host. We got to find out who he does this with. The Double Doink podcast. Now, the Double Doink, I'm thinking, is referring to Cody Parkey's kick against the Eagles for the Bears, remember?
Mm-hmm.
The Double Doink.
That's right. That's what he's most known for.
Right.
Nothing else, right? Nothing with us.
He's a friend of the family.
Your family.
My cousin is actually buddies with him down in Florida. They live not far from one another.
Okay. Where, like, what area? Panhandle?
Jupiter.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So that's how you just get to know somebody like that, huh?
Exactly.
All right. Carlos Dew asking for a JAKIB Media shirt, Harry. He'll represent it in Tennessee.
I don't have any JAKIB Media T-shirts.
Yeah, and what part of Tennessee you're repping down there? We want to make sure that it's an area we want to be repped.
Right. Not where Nick Cale lives.
No, I don't know where he lives, but
Nashville.
It's not Brentwood, I can tell you that. Well, yeah, I knew Nashville, but like what areas around it? If he's out there playing the Hermitage every other day, then maybe. I don't know.
He is playing the Hermitage. That's where he plays.
Is he a member there?
It's a public place, but I guess they do still have membership.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of people have been grandfathered in, and you do have membership. Like a lot of those places down there.
Preferred tee times.
Yeah, exactly right. Where, Golf Now or something can't get you in.
Right.
Ahead of that. Okay, just checking to see where he is, if he's out there playing good golf. It's hard to find bad golf courses down there, though. I'll say
one of those tracks, because they got two courses there. One of them has zoysia fairways.
Is that just what type of grass is that? Like,
it's a very heavy grass that is like, it's almost like hitting off a mat.
Really? So does the ball grab? You don't get much roll?
I don't know about roll, but it's a very firm grass to hit balls on. Let's just put it that way. I'd like to try it. I've never played it.
Like, what's the difference you'll feel when you hit a ball?
Well, the ball sits up.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Like the ball's not going to, drop down like Bermuda where you get like,
I see what you're saying. So that's what it is. It's like those fake grass driving range mats.
Kind of
sit up at the top.
Yeah, I get the feeling that it's similar to that.
Okay. Now, where is this place?
The Hermitage, one of the courses there. They have two.
Okay. I didn't realize that there was a second course that was specifically groomed that way as opposed to the other one.
No, they've got two. They're named. They name the presidential, I think, and I forget what the other one is.
Okay. Saw a great tweet about calls, by the way. Each month, this guy's listening to, this is from Why Not Mikey P. Each month I'm listening to fill in the blank station. The amount of calls is out of hand. I know you never stop calls, but please stop letting the clowns on who say, quote, buddy, quote, I was at the game, don't know the difference between using seen and saw. Men over 50 still saying ain't. Well, I'd say just stop listening. Jake Arrieta tonight, right? In Colorado?
Really?
Is that right?
He got signed again?
Oh, yeah.
Who signed him?
Yes.
The Rockies signed him?
No, I believe it was San Diego who signed him, right?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So he's pitching tonight against Carlos Gonzalez. Oh, Chichi Gonzalez, pardon me. Chichi Gonzalez going up against Jake Arrieta. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Now, what's this total already?
Yeah, what is the total?
14.
Jeez.
It's
Whoa.
14. Look, the Rockies hit when they're at home because everybody hits when they're at home. The Padres play in such a pitcher-friendly park. Right. Their numbers are always going to be a little off. They did win 7-3 Colorado last night.
Colorado.
Boy, this is a Padres victory and an under, I think.
And Tatis, of course, is back.
Yeah, I mean, everybody look, Chichi Gonzalez is brutal. Jake Arrieta is worse.
Yes.
So, I mean, boy, this game is at 3:10 today. This is a nice little matinee action here.
Is it also humid out there, hot and humid? It doesn't get humid out there, does it?
It doesn't matter. The ball's going to fly anyway.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't change much, I think, in that regard.
I can tell by the way you're talking about it. You're tempted to take the over.
No, I'm actually tempted to go under on this.
Really?
It's juice to the under.
Contrarian play.
14. Oh, it's juice to the under. 14.
Yeah, but most people betting that game will take the over.
Let's see. Maybe we have the market in here for Padres Rockies right now. Only about 6,000 tickets in. So this is far from a market that is set. All right, 58% of 6,200 tickets are on the under, making up 94% of the money so far. Now, look, that changed drastically with 4,000 more tickets coming in.
Wow.
I think you may have to go over here. That's a lot of money right there on the under, right?
Wow.
Nearly 100% of the tickets' money is on the under. You don't think that contrarian would be over, right?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but I'd still take over.
Let's do it. I'm in. Let's do it. I'm going to go over 14. I wonder if I can get San Diego and over 14. That would be the play here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe
Arrieta's ERA is 6.88.
Padres in over 13.5 is plus 190.
There you go. He had 20 starts with the Cubs.
No, he's terrible.
Only gave him 86 innings.
Terrible. Oh, I wonder here. Just trying to figure this thing out.
21 home runs he's allowed in 86 innings.
You know, you actually raise an interesting point here, which is about the weather in the afternoon versus
a night game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it's going to be a little more humid now than it would be at night.
You could find that, their days and nights, you can research that.
It's 84 degrees right now.
Joey B can tell us. He lives out there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what specific. I need the hour by hour in Denver. All right, here it is. This game starts at 3:00.
Mm-hmm.
Local time, it's going to be 95 degrees, and there's going to be about 18% or so humidity.
Not much.
But the wind is the difference. The wind is half. It's like closer to half of the wind at 3:00 than it is when it picks up much more.
Which way the wind is blowing too. That's they're like Wrigley Field. Sometimes it blows in.
Well, yeah, this looks like it's blowing out, but the difference between 7 miles per hour at 3 versus 14 at 7 or 8. All right, let's not subject Brendan to this nonsense here. Brendan D, how you doing?
I'm doing well, boys. How you guys doing?
Great to have you, man.
Yes, thank you. So we're live on our stream right now. We'll be joined by our national radio network, Sports Map Radio, coming up in about 45 seconds. So we can just shoot it. That's normally what we do, is just kind of kick it for, well, another 40 seconds, and then we can.
Well, I got a question before we get to the network. You seem like a big Eagles guy, and you're from Toronto. How did that work out?
So my dad is a diehard Washington football team fan, and like the bad son I am, when he showed me football when I was 8 years old, of course I got to choose the other team.
You rebelled.
And then I rebelled, exactly.
Wow.
It's funny. My dad always tells people that he knows that I should be living in a tent outside, or should have been living in a tent outside when I was growing up. But basically my dad showed me football. I think I was about 7 or 8. And they were Washington was playing the Eagles, and I just fell in love with that defense, man. That early 2000 Eagles defense kind of caught my heart, and since then, just
hold on one second. We're back, but you bring up a very interesting point here that I need to raise with both of you.
Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry May.
Brendan Deeg covers all things NFL for football at Football Post, which is the National Football Post, of course, the Twitter account for Brendan at Brendan Deeg NFP. The Double Doink podcast as well. And look, we're just happy that he's on with us and can spend some time talking about our birds and beyond. But Harry just asked Brendan in the break before we were back with Sports Map about his allegiance to the Philadelphia Eagles. And to paraphrase, you can fill in the blanks here, it was born out of resistance.
Yeah.
Simply, right? Now,
exactly.
Here's my concern, okay? Because we're in Philadelphia. I grew up all my life, even outside of this area, initially in New York City, Southern Connecticut, as an Eagles fan, because my uncle at the time was from here and kidnapped me and made sure I was there for tire fires and everything at the vet. Now, I have an 8-week-old son, and I am doing everything I possibly can to raise him as an Eagles fan, a Sixers fan, a Phillies fan, a Flyers fan, a Union fan, all the crap here in Philadelphia, right? But I'm afraid now, or actually was afraid, and now it's reinforced my fear that the one team that I really, really want him to care about in the Philadelphia Eagles is going to be the one team he's going to be like, man, screw this guy. I'm not following his team. This guy's been on my ass ever since I was born, and now he wants me to follow this team, and he's going to turn around and root for the Cowboys.
Oh, man. I don't think I could live with myself if I had a kid that became a Cowboys fan, to be honest. But no, honestly, the best way to do it is just bring them to a game, man. Bring them around the clothing. You fall in love with that green. That's the best way to kind of go about it, you know? I think the Eagles got the best colors in the division, so kind of just show them around, show them clothes, buy them Christmas gifts. Bring him to the link, maybe. I don't know. He'll fall in love. I'm sure he will.
Well, now I know from looking at your Twitter feed at Brendan Deeg NFP why you're such an Alex Singleton fan, given the fact that you're in Canada and he was a big star for a little while at the Canadian Football League, right?
Yeah. So I wrote a story on Alex. It came out about 2 weeks ago. You can check it out on my Twitter page. I spoke with Alex and I spoke with a couple of his teammates. So he was cut from the Seattle Seahawks. Those, I think it was 2014, 2015 Seahawks teams. They were stacked with, you had Bruce Irving, you had Bobby Wagner. So he wasn't able to kind of carve out a role there. He ended up back in Minnesota. I think he spent in New England a little time there. And then he just wanted to play football. And his mom was born actually in Toronto. So he was able to get a Canadian passport and join and get into the CFL draft in 2016. And I played football at York University, which is a university just about 20 minutes east, I believe, from Toronto. And I knew who Alex was when he was drafted to CFL. I knew about him because I had some teammates that were in that exact draft. So I always know who he was. And when he became an Eagle in 2019, he caught my eye. And then I'm not the biggest CFL guy here in Toronto. It's not as big in Toronto as it is out west. And they love their football in Saskatchewan, Calgary, Winnipeg. It's not the same vibe here. So I'm not going to lie and say I watch Alex all throughout Calgary, but I didn't know who he was. He was CFL Defensive Player there in 2017. He won a Grey Cup in 2018. So when he went to the Eagles 2019, he's always a guy, when I was coming up in this business, the guy I wanted to talk to. And then I made it happen this year. He's a really nice guy, and he worked hard. He grew up in Southern California. He stayed in Calgary for 3 years. He didn't go back home. He worked his butt off in Calgary to get where he was today. And I loved his story, and I wanted to tell it. And I wanted everyone to kind of know how hard he worked to get where he is today.
Yeah, we had him on. Remember, Harry?
Yep.
Right around
when he first got acquired by the Eagles. Yeah.
Yes, and you could just tell. And look, he's not alone. He's not an individual in the league, but you could just tell that everything that we were talking about was born out of him consuming the game, and not only having a passion for it, but wanting to get better. And I think a lot of it is, as you know, you cover this league. A lot of the NFL is that, right? Where if you get past that top 4 to 5% of superstars and maybe the next 6% of stars, you have so many Alex Singletons out there. But the reality is they don't get their stories told because they're usually dwarfed by those the superstars.
No, exactly. And look, this is a guy that, like, in 2019, he barely made the roster, and now he is the starting linebacker.
He's
and
a tackling machine.
Tackler. Yeah, he was 15th in the NFL in tackles last year, and he led the Eagles in tackles, and he only started at 10 games. So, like, he's 27. I'm sure, like, he's probably got a couple years left in his prime. But this is a guy that to keep an eye on this year, and he had a great preseason game week 1. He was all over the field. So, and he had COVID basically right after I talked to him. He ended up getting diagnosed with COVID, which kind of held him back during training camp. But it doesn't look like he's missed a beat at all.
All right, what's your take on the quarterback situation here? They've obviously got 2 first-round picks, possibly 3 next year, depending on the whole Carson Wentz situation, which now looks a little bit more optimistic. Do you think Jalen Hurts is the guy? Do you hope he ends up being the guy, or would you rather draft somebody next year, or maybe trade it all for Deshaun Watson when he gets cleared, if he does?
Well, I think the best case scenario for the Eagles as a franchise is he is the guy, because then you can build around him with the draft capital that you've gotten this offseason. Is he going to be the guy? I know it's a bad answer, but I don't know. Like, no one really knows, right? He's only played 4 games in the NFL. And I said it before last year, that he should have put him in a couple games earlier. They let Wentz hang around too long. If you put him in a few games earlier, maybe you would have known what you had in Hurts. Like, you only played him 4 games. You don't know what you have in the guy. And look, his 4 games wasn't great. Like, he had the Cardinals game last year, which was awesome, but a lot of it was rushing. Like, he hasn't shown his kind of a passing ability. And I did the NFC East. We did our NFC East preview on our podcast yesterday. So I kind of dove into this division and dove more into kind of the stats on Jalen Hurts from last year. So the Eagles as an offense last year finished 28th in DVOA. Football Outsiders has a metric called DVOA, which kind of just ranks offense, defenses, and total teams. Eagles offense was 28th as a team, 31st with Wentz, 21st with Hurts. So they were a little better with Jalen Hurts at the helm. And there's a stat that I really liked that kind of intrigued, 2 stats that intrigued me if you want to kind of ride the Hurts train and kind of make you feel better about him. There's a stat that Next Gen Stats put, so ESPN's stat generator. It's called expected completion percentage. So what that means is it kind of rates how difficult your throws are, how far your throws are, how much separation the wide receivers have gotten. So basically, it kind of puts everything together, cuts all the fat, and how difficult was his throw. Jalen Hurts was
drops factored into that real quick.
Drops are factored into it as well. Yeah. So
I didn't mean to jump in. Just curious.
Yeah, no, you're correct. Drops are factored into it. So he was 41st out of 41 quarterbacks last year in expected completion percentage. That means all of his throws are very, very difficult. That means all the throws that he was making were not easy. That means Doug Peterson in the offensive scheme was not good. They were not scheming open throws to him. They were not giving him the best opportunity to succeed. So that's a positive. So that means Nick Sirianni, of course, he's a wide receiver guy. He's been pushing his narrative out that he's going to make it easier on the quarterback, get the wide receivers open. And another stat is Jalen Hurts had the second highest yards per attempt in the NFL last year at 9.5. So he's not worried about throwing the ball downfield. He's okay with throwing the ball deep. Again, those 2 stats are finicky, but I think there is something there. But the other thing is, too, I don't think the Eagles are going to be very patient with him at all. Like, I think if they go 7-10 this year, I don't think Howie and Jeffrey Lurie are going to wait to pull the trigger on another quarterback. They're not patient guys with that position. They love the quarterback position. And if there's a guy out there that they think that is better than Jalen Hurts, they'll go and get him. I don't really know what kind of the tipping point is. Like, it doesn't seem like Howie and Lurie are even very pumped up about him this year, right? Like, he's not even in any of like the marketing material. I don't know if you noticed this. Like, he's nowhere to be found around the Lincoln Financial Field.
Right.
So.
You know, I'm sorry.
No, keep going. I'm done.
The most disappointing part, to follow up to your point there at the end, is that even in relation to reporters asking about Deshaun Watson, at one point Aaron Rodgers,
they've never shut it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's never. And you know what? Even if you get the prototypical half-ass, we don't like to talk about it, you don't even have it at the end. Like, here's what I'm asking for, Brendan, from Howie Roseman and company, is not just we don't talk about anybody under contract, but we don't talk about anybody under contract, and Jalen Hurts is our guy.
Right.
I don't think you could find anybody saying that in relation to a responsibility.
No one's saying it. No one's saying it.
Which is disheartening because you, me, Mays, and the stream all know that Joe Flacco, outside of an injury to Jalen Hurts, ain't starting week 1.
No, but that's the thing. You brought him up. Joe Flacco is the only guy that I've heard really say that Jalen Hurts is the guy. He's
true.
basically
Right.
he's basically now, saying like, yeah, Jalen's the number one guy.
I have no business. I don't want to watch a Joe Flacco led Eagles offense. I don't think anybody does.
No.
So they should be going out there, and I know they don't either. So the fact that they haven't said it, look, I don't think it's a huge deal, but I do think it is somewhat of a deal that they're not even saying his name. He's not in any marketing material. So they're an open book. It's almost like Hurts is the only guy that could take the job right now, right? He's the only one that's in the building that's good enough to do it. So he's getting it by default. And that's another thing too. I can't remember a second round pick that has just kind of flourished into a starting job like this. I think Jalen Hurts has a wicked opportunity in front of him right now. This doesn't happen very often.
No.
He was not even supposed to be drafted second round. I don't think if the Eagles don't take him there at 53, he gets into the third round, in my opinion. So he's a third round quarterback talent starting in year 2. That doesn't happen very often. So this is a huge opportunity for him to kind of take this and run with it.
At Brendan Deeg NFP on Twitter, I got one last one for you. It's the NFC East in total. Like, well, how do you see this shaping out, or playing out if you had to sort of rank them right now?
So if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said the Dallas Cowboys were in this division. This Dak Prescott thing's freaking me out. Like, if you're a Cowboys fan, I would be worried. He's coming already off a serious injury. And now, like, I know they're saying his shoulder's fine, it's healing, but look, he's not practicing right now. He's not getting those reps. If I was a Cowboys fan, I'd be worried there. If I was to say right now, I said on our show yesterday, I'd probably take Washington just with the way the roster's built. I think their defense was very good last year.
Yeah.
I think it could get even better. A lot of those defensive linemen are young and still haven't hit their prime yet. Like Chase Young is still not even his prime yet to think about him. It's scary. Exactly. Yeah. And I think their offense last year was 32nd in DVOA, dead last. So if Ryan Fitzpatrick can even just kind of bring them to mediocre offense and that like that 18 to 22nd best offense range, then they'll be great. And I think they got 10 games, winning 10 games written all over them. It's tough. I think all 4 teams can win it. I'm not huge on the Giants, but I do think there is a scenario where Daniel Jones does make some sort of a leap up and then does play better, and Saquon Barkley's healthy and Leonard Williams continues to dominate. It's as open as a division in the NFL as it gets. We're doing our division breakdowns again, like I said, and this is the most open division of football that I've noticed. Any team can win it. There's a scenario for any team in this division that can come out and they can win it. Like the Eagles, for instance, if Hurts plays really well, he becomes like a top 15 quarterback. They can sneak in and win, and that defensive line stays healthy. Like, there's so many different scenarios where this division can go. And I think it's the most interesting division of football besides the AFC North. I think those two are my favorite divisions to watch this year. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to see where these teams all land.
I just want to follow up on one thing really quick you mentioned about Hurts and just how fidgety this front office, including the owner, can be about moving on from that position. Brendan, hang for a second. We're going to break on the network. We're still live on the JAKIB Media YouTube page, back in 3 on SportsMap Radio. So just maybe it's easier if I give you maybe a couple of hypotheticals here, but I wonder, where is the line when you're looking at balancing individual and team success to where Jalen Hurts has to clear in order to keep his job? Because, right, I wonder if even making, I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I'm sorry.
I honestly, that's a good question. I don't know. Like, that's what's weird about this whole situation. No one knows what the line is. Like, the most likely scenario for the Eagles is they go 6-11 and 7-10. Hurts is around the 20th best quarterback. Is that good enough? Like, probably not. Like, but that's the most likely scenario, in my opinion, for this team. Like, no one knows how he's thinking, right? Like, he's been very quiet on this quarterback end since he's traded Wentz. And these guys, they love quarterbacks. We know that, right? They are obsessed with that position. So they want to perfect it. So unless Hurts, to my opinion, is a top 10 quarterback this year, I don't think he's the quarterback of 2022. Like, they didn't get this draft capital for no reason. Like, they got it for some point, right? So I don't know what the line is. It's weird. I don't know how he's thinking, right?
Nobody, like, not even Dak Prescott, right? Like, nobody drafted, I think, rounds 1 through 3 that gets the shot to start at the quarterback position has this short of a time to prove themselves. Not to say that Jalen Hurts won't go to another team and play well. But that's what I see. To go to base off your example, Brendan, I see this team winning 6 games this year. The Eagles being enamored with either somebody in the draft or somebody they could trade for, and Jalen Hurts goes somewhere else and makes a Pro Bowl. And we're all looking around like,
oh man,
that's definitely in the realm of
wouldn't that be incredible if not only he but also Wentz goes to a Pro Bowl again?
For God's sakes, that'd be so Philadelphia.
The Double Doink podcast getting some love on the stream here from our guys. Yeah.
So yes, real quick, just do whatever you can to promote that and anything else you can to our stream and beyond, please.
Sounds good. So Double Doink Podcast you can find on Apple, Spotify. Has some great guests. I went Robert Mays from The Athletic on. You can check out my interview with Alex Singleton that's on there as well. It's also on my YouTube page. You can check out the National Football Post. So it's more of a betting and NFL news site. So it kind of does both, the best of both worlds. All the betting content's going to start coming out next week. We're rolling all that out. Just signed sponsorship with FanDuel and DraftKings as well. So stuff's starting to pick up, right? And our division preview series is still chugging along on the Double Doink Podcast. We're doing the NFC South today, and then we're finishing it up on Friday with the NFC West and the NFC North. So make sure to follow all that. And then, we have some great guests lined up as well. We have Arizona Cardinals writer Dan Urban coming on at the end of the week. So, a bunch of stuff coming on. Football season's almost here, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Fired up.
Good, man. All right, I'm going to leave it with this futures bet here, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're preaching to the choir here that we're degenerates to the bone. So love
to see it.
It's dropped already, and I think you can get it elsewhere. I'm sure here we're in PA here, so everything's legal. I'm only looking at one book, so I'm sure you can get it a little bit better somewhere else. But most regular season rushing touchdowns plus 5,000, Lamar Jackson.
That's not crazy. I wouldn't.
I wasn't going to give you, Derrick Henry.
That's actually not crazy. I'm surprised it's plus 5,000. I'm surprised the odds are that high.
That's what jumped out. Like this should probably be about 2,500. He is.
I think you'd just be better off just taking $100 and burning it.
And burning it.
You know what? I'm gonna put $100 just like you, Harry.
Here's a good one for you guys. If you put $20 on the Detroit Lions to win the most games in the NFL this year, you'll win $30,000. So if you want to light $20 on fire, there's one for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's the thing. I don't think, to be fair, gentlemen, that my futures bet should be placed in that same category as the Lions.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, I'll give you that. I don't think
fair. All right,
you're fair. Fair enough. I don't think it's the same. Look, it's possible, but I do think they're trying to keep them. They're not trying to run them around as much in the red zone. That's where injuries happen. I'm sure they're trying to get the passing game opened up more. A guy I do like for that bet is Aaron Jones. Watch out for him this year. I think he's going to be heavily used in the Green Bay Packers offense, even with who's the AJ Dillon behind him. I still think Aaron Jones is going to be the main guy. But that's there's such a hard kind of bet to grasp. There's so many good running backs out this year. Christian McCaffrey's back, so probably a bet I'd stay away from. But honestly, the plus 5,000 odds is juicy.
All good, brother.
I love it.
We appreciate you big time.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Anytime.
You got it. Brendan Deeg hanging out with us.
Love that. Oot.
Yep. Wicked.
Look,
is such an underrated term, an adjective, right?
Isn't that more associated with Boston area than Canada?
No, I heard it a lot when I was in Calgary.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody in Boston stole it.
Oh, you think they pilfered it from the Canadians? Okay.
Yeah, like we're the Barstool Sports of the world. We just steal stuff and don't credit people. Don't let Kevin Kincaid hear that. He'll have a conniption fit. No, I was looking for we have a couple of these futures tools over at Awesemo, and one of them was most rushing touchdowns, and Lamar Jackson popped up a lot.
Wow.
As far as season-long player props. And Lamar Jackson pops up a lot here.
What is Najee Harris's number?
The number for Harris is plus 3,500. $100 wins me $5,000 on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but it's not going to win. It's not going to happen.
It's got to look. It's got a pretty good shot of happening for somebody in plus 5,000 range. I'm looking at rushing touchdowns this year, right? Lamar Jackson's over return of investment. He's projected at 11.5. The odds it goes over I have is 74%. 74%. If he's over 11.5 rushing touchdowns this year, Harry, he's got a pretty good shot at leading the league in rushing touchdowns. That's what I'm drawing this here. Look, you think I just pull this out of my ass?
Yes, I think you do.
Minutes?
Yes.
You got to listen to What Are the Odds, man. We go deep. Oh, man. All right, we're out of here. We appreciate everybody hanging with us. We're
Barrett's back tomorrow.
Yes, back tomorrow. We've got game day tomorrow. And how much do you think right now, it's subject to change, but in 30 seconds, less than that, actually, 20 seconds, how much does Hurts play? Take us home with that.
Well, he played, 2 or 3 series last week? I'm going to say he's going to play a quarter and a half. A quarter and a half, not a half. Like a half the second quarter, he'll be out.
All right, we're out. We'll see you tomorrow.